Hey everybody, I am David, and today I'm going to be talking about The Flash, Season 4, Episode 16, Run, Iris, Run, which is a nice little play on words from back in the first season when Harrison Wells, the reverse Flash of Season 1, told Barry, run, Barry, run. So now it's run, Iris, run, which is what Barry eventually says in the episode, because Iris gets superpowers. Oh no, I got flashbacks from Smallville when that episode where Lana received Clark's powers for the first time. That was not a great moment in Smallville's history. But thankfully this episode wasn't a complete disaster. It wasn't my favorite episode. But I will say it was fun. It was fun seeing Iris having powers and rescuing the day for once. It was a nice little change of pace. We got 20-something episodes. Let the writers have a little bit of fun once in a while. And that's what this episode was. I am going to say I hated Ralph in the beginning of this episode, throughout most of it, because it's about him. Because he's worried that DeVoe is going to eventually capture him and use him as one of his experiments. That doesn't give him the excuse to tell Iris, though, that she is useless because she sits in the office all day. When clearly she does a lot behind the council. She guides everybody. She, specifically Barry, when he needs that support. That's what Iris is good for. And this episode showed her, no, she could be more than just the girl behind the council. And that's fine. I just didn't like the way Ralph had to rub that in her face. That made him an unlikable character for me. So I'll just leave it at that. I'm happy the character wasn't crazy and over the top like he usually is. He was actually pretty toned down. I just didn't like the way his attitude was in this episode. So I'll leave it at that. Then we also have Harry and Cisco trying to find a way how they can match DeVoe's intellect, and they come up with a device that allows Harry to, I guess, kind of evenly match. Cisco's a little bit worried about it because if he uses it too much, he could become like Locutus from the Borg. And those of you that are not familiar with your Star Trek lore, thankfully Star Trek The Next Generation is actually a series that I actually watched. Locutus is actually the name of Captain Picard's Borg name. When he was taken over by the Borg, he was brainwashed and turned into one of them. It's funny because in the beginning of this season, when we saw DeVoe in his Borg form earlier on in the wheelchair, in that spacecraft and everything, I said he looks like the Borg. So it's funny that they finally made a reference to that in this episode. How is this going to affect Harry down the road? I don't know. I don't think they've given us clues on who the villain is going to be in Season 5 of The Flash. And I'm curious now if this is going to affect Harry down the road, and if we are going to get Harrison Wells going evil in Season 5. Just something to think about. I wouldn't want that to happen, and I don't think it's going to happen, but it's just something that I wanted to throw out there. Just the thought that I had while watching the episode, specifically that little tease at the end, at which we also got the last two names of the next two metahumans, but I didn't get all worked up about it because I did not recognize any of those names. So if anybody wants to comment below in the comments section and tell me what those two names mean, are they characters from the comics? Because I have no idea. So hopefully somebody else does who knows the comics better than I do. And then I guess Barry and Iris, they got their powers swapped because of this metahuman that can actually touch people and swap them. At first, the episode makes us believe that he can take people's powers away, but then he swapped Barry's powers over to Iris, and that's how Iris became a hero. But we later learned that somebody else got the fire powers, that the guy who was robbing the bank earlier on in the episode, someone else, that person, because when he was knocked to the ground. Anyways, I know I'm making it sound confusing because I didn't really think about how I was going to say that. Somebody else got fire powers from the first guy. Let's just put it that way, okay? It's because the guy who could swap powers, he caused all that mess. There was a part of me that was thinking, though, at the end, when the second guy came with fire powers, wouldn't it be cool if, not cool, but, what if the second half of Firestorm came back and got his powers? Why is that character's name Jackson? Wouldn't it be funny if Jax came and that's how he got his powers back and then went back on Legends of Tomorrow? I literally thought that was going to happen, but it didn't. So missed opportunity there, guys. You found your window on how to get Jax back on Legends without Dr. Stein, but oops, I screwed up on that one. Unless they have no plans on bringing Jax back, that's fine. Because I'm loving Wally on Legends of Tomorrow. The fire thing, specifically the second guy, didn't make any sense to me because, wait a minute. So there was this first guy robbing the bank because he had all these powers. It was taken away from him and poured into another guy who was at the bank, who all of a sudden went crazy with fire powers and wanted to destroy the city. Okay, I guess two people at the bank that were evil, I guess could coexist at the same time. Funny enough, same powers. The guy who was swapping powers, he seemed like an okay character. It looks like he's sticking around for a bit, so is DeVoe going to get his hands on him? We're going to have to wait and see because there's 2 metas left that they have to get, and then whatever's going to happen to the 3 of them, I guess we're going to find out unless Barry uses these next 2 characters along with the power switching character. Maybe he uses them in the final fight against DeVoe. I guess that would make the most sense. And Ralph too, obviously. Iris having powers could have went bad in a lot of ways, but thankfully it was fun. There were quite a bit of callbacks to season 1, like when Iris was running on the treadmill and she flew off backwards. That was a callback to season 1. The tidal wave. I was thinking of the tidal wave if Barry had done that back in season 1, but he was actually trying to stop a tidal wave from coming to the city. That's what happened. Great episode, by the way. So that was actually a new ability that Iris figured out, how to create a tidal wave using her speed power, something Barry never had done. But like I said, he only stopped it. So if it was Iris versus Barry would probably won. Or no, he went back in time in that episode, didn't he? That means he didn't stop the tidal wave from happening. Oh, so maybe Iris is stronger than Barry. Something to think about there. And I guess that's it, guys. I felt a lot of the characters, man, this season. I think there are so many characters that a lot of them are being sidelined because Ralph and Cisco and Kalen, they all have powers, and they could have been out there helping Iris. Instead, they let Iris, the one that has the least experience fighting metahumans, go out on her own. Which, thinking about it more and more, it's bothersome because why didn't they go out and help? Who knows? Caitlin Frost has power. She could have put out the building with fire. Cisco could have helped out somehow in the final battle. Anyways, I don't want to think about it too much because then my head will hurt. And it was a fine episode for a little fun thing to see Iris kick some ass. That's all it was made for. It's not my favorite episode of The Flash, but I wouldn't call it the worst. It was fine. It was an average episode, and for that, I'll let it pass. I'm hoping we'll be wrapping up for the rest of the season soon. We got a few more episodes left. I believe like 6 more episodes left, maybe. I'd have to count it. So hopefully the next remaining episodes leading to the finale will give us what we're really looking for. This final battle against DeVoe. We'll see. And how it's going to all wrap up, especially with these metahumans that now they have to get the last 2 on. So with that being said, I'm ending this video here. I hope you guys like this video. Subscribe to my channel. Remember to comment below and tell your thoughts on the episode and anything that I might have missed out on. And until next time, take care.